Hey, welcome to Fabulous Friday Captive Audience. We are just a few short days away from Christmas, and here we are. The federal government, the House, has passed a funding bill. They didn't get the giant omnibus bill that they wanted. Thank God. Thank you, Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and all the Americans that called your electeds, called your representatives and said no, and not just no, you said hell no. And because that's what it takes. That is what it takes. And somebody today said, oh, well, they're calling, that Elon's running the government. He's not. If it wasn't for X and no censorship, the freedom of speech, we wouldn't be where we're at today. We truly wouldn't. And so I was thinking about that we must have the freedom of speech, the right to say what we want, the right to be critical of our government. It's okay. It's dialogue. We don't have to all agree. And certainly not all Republicans agree, that's for sure, because, we even had 30 something, 34, I think it was, that voted against the bill for whatever reason. And, I'll tell you, electeds do have to vote their conscience. A person has to live with whatever their decision is on a vote such as that. Hey, Bobby, nice to see you. But it is so important to be able to, there's times that we don't necessarily like how somebody votes. And I'm hearing calls, well, we're gonna, primary you in 2 years if you don't vote such and such a way. Sometimes we don't like how people vote. And you're never going to get somebody that is going to vote how you want 100% of the time. That's a reality. And maybe some people that might be new to politics don't get that. But I am so thankful that the omnibus bill, the over 1,000 pages, did not pass. That is fabulous. Yes, they passed 118, a bill that was 118 pages. And when something about negotiations, when both sides are equally unhappy, then it's fair, But yet, it's amazing that all of the Democrats that were there voted, is my understanding, voted for it. And yet we had 30-something Republicans that didn't. I found that, I did find that interesting. In fact, here, I've got a bill, I've got an article from the Epic Times. This farm aid is really important, very important. One thing, I was speaking with somebody today that I worried about any more money that we pass funding. I'm worried about what Biden's doing with it. Because as I read on X just a little before launching tonight, that, they're trying to give away more debt relief for educational debt relief to even those that work for our government. And it's not just a paltry amount. It's a lot of money. And actually, somebody on X said, actually, that's against the law, what they're trying to do. And so I worry about the spending that Biden can do in one more month, because he is trying to break the bank. That's what I think anyway. I don't know if that's what you think, but that's okay. But that's what I think. So I am glad, and it's now this bill's headed to the Senate, and I'm looking. It's sounding like the Senate's going to pass it. That's awesome, and so I'm glad there. I was totally fine if it shut down the government. I personally don't think it's that big of a deal. I might be wrong, but that's my opinion. So there we are. We've passed 118 pages, lots of money in the billions. Everything's in the billions. Remember when it used to all be just in the millions? And you hardly ever heard about billions, or if you did, and then now we're in the trillions? We never used to hear about trillions, but that's where we're at today. I'm looking forward to the cuts. I want to see the cuts. What's happening with the cuts? Absolutely. Well, back here in Oregon, Oregon, I this article is interesting. In 1987, Oregon became the first sanctuary state, limiting state and local aid to federal immigration enforcement without a judge's order. And I have said so many times, if you're new to Captive Audience, you might not have heard it, so I'm going to say it again. But many times I have said that Oregon, I believe, is the testing ground for what they want to do across the nation. And I think California, Oregon, and Washington have all proved those types of testing grounds. And now the Oregon Department of Justice, Oregon DOJ, releases new resources to explain Oregon sanctuary laws to they've launched a new sanctuary promise community toolkit to help residents understand the state's sanctuary laws and available resources. It's a free online toolkit developed by the Oregon Department of Justice Civil Rights Unit. And I'll tell you, I don't agree with sanctuary states. I don't agree with sanctuary cities. And I don't agree with sanctuary counties either. And I think our counties and our cities should claw back that. That's what I think. Let's see what happens. But, it might be that we get a law, a federal law, that would supersede the state, that they can't have ban sanctuary states and sanctuary cities, especially regarding immigration, because immigration is a federal law. It is not a state's law. And that's the federal government's law, is to secure our borders. That's what it's about. That's their primary job, is keeping our nation safe and knowing who is coming in here, allowing those that we deem we want. I'm not anti-immigrant by any means, but you can't just have them, what's been happening, flooding over the border. I look forward to Tom Homan being the head of our border and immigration and the deportation, because we need to have mass deportation. And the media is going to just scream about it. So guard your hearts when you see, oh, this family's ripped apart. You know what? If you've come here illegally, that's on you. That's on you. That's what I think. So now our newly Attorney General-elect, Dan Rayfield, he has established a federal oversight cabinet ahead of Trump taking office. And this is an article from Oregon Live. And he has tapped a dozen prominent Oregonians to work in areas like healthcare, law, and labor to advise his office as it tries to defend against potential threats to Oregon policies from the incoming Trump administration. And let me ask our audience, is this what you want Oregon's tax dollars going towards? I don't. I would like our Attorney General to let's make sure that criminals are getting prosecuted. Let's go out, take action, the law on the books, enforce the laws on the books in the state of Oregon, instead of picking and choosing which ones you would like to do. Little food for thought. Little food for thought. So that was his, Dan Rayfield's first, that I know of, point of business is to establish a federal oversight cabinet. And it is to thwart anything that Donald Trump might do. And, it's stoking concerns about potential impacts on immigration, reproductive health access, and weaker environmental regulations. So we're going to just have to see, hold on, because here in Oregon, they're going to try to not do anything that that Donald Trump would like to do. So we have the members of the cabinet is Executive Director Joe Basler, Executive Director of Oregon's AFSCME, Sandy Chung, Executive Director of the ACLU of Oregon, Greg Dotson, Professor of University of Oregon School of Law, Julie Hanna, Associate Vice President of Government Affairs at OHSU, and the list goes on and the list goes on. So it's going to be Oregon. You can just say right now, Oregon is going to be spending our state's tax dollars fighting the federal government in any way they can. But, it's not surprising. All the blue states are going to do that. I believe that if we had clean voter rolls, voted in person and voted on paper, which we vote on paper, that's the one thing we do. But a clean voter roll and voted in person, I bet you we could turn Oregon red. I think it's more red than people realize. I really, really do. So, just beware that this is the type of thing that's going to be coming and that's going to be pushing, because we have across the state, all of our state electeds are all from the progressive, socialist, communist, Democrat side. Now, are all Democrats that way? No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. But our governor certainly is. Our governor certainly is. And the people that have gotten elected, they're going to follow the governors. If like Dan Rayfield, if he didn't want a budget cut to his office, he's got to do something like this to appease the governor, don't you think? That's what I think. And no, abortion is not reproductive health at all. It's not. It's not. I agree with you there, Maurice, my good friend Maurice. So, okay, well, I'm going to change the subject now. We have the EPA is sending Oregon millions of dollars for more electric school buses. Yay, right? No. And so Oregon will soon have more than 200 federally funded electric school buses shuttling kids to and fro from school, following an announcement that the state will get money for more early next year. We don't have enough electricity in Oregon for electric everything. We don't. That's one. My next point is when you read the fine print of the electric school buses, in order for every electric school bus that they get the money for and they purchase it, they must destroy. You think, well, that's okay. They'll keep the diesel school buses in reserve, right? That's what I thought. Until I covered a story a few weeks back about Oregon getting money for electric school buses. And in the fine print, it was, if you're receiving this money and buying them, they must destroy the diesel engine. Destroy it. Like take it to a scrapper and it be destroyed. Not just a scrapper to sell it for parts. It's supposed to be crushed. The diesel engine that comes out of the school bus. Because they don't want you resurrecting that bus. In fact, it just popped in, like they over here in Boardman, where the coal plant was, they destroyed the chimney for the coal plant. They never wanted that to be resurrected. So it's a lot more than just getting, and this is so, it says here, the EPA announced December 11th that it has allocated more than $6.5 million to Oregon's Department of DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality, so districts can retire 26 diesel buses and replace them with electric ones. And of course, the money will also go towards installing more electric vehicle chargers and training 17 mechanics in the Beaverton and Reynolds School District to work on electric buses and charging infrastructure. $6.5 million. They can retire. It doesn't say they're going to get 26 electric, so they can retire, retire 26 diesel buses. It says, and replace them with electric ones. So, okay, I guess that is one for one. There's more to the story. And so the EPA has granted Oregon since 2022 more than $64 million in rebates and grants for 23 school districts, allowing them to purchase about 200 electric school buses. So let's see, I've talked before about the data centers and the electricity that they require. We have data mining for Bitcoin and other digital currency. You have electric vehicles, not just buses, all cars. And we don't have enough electricity in the state of Oregon. And as soon as the Boardman to Hemingway transmission line is finished, they will be shipping the electricity out of here, even more to California via Idaho. That's just a fact. It's a fact. So buckle up, buy yourself a generator, because you're going to be having more blackouts. Guaranteed. Even our governor said that, our former governor said that a couple of years ago. Right on Your Voice, Your Vote there. I watched her saying just that. And that's what it's about. So, yeah, not a good deal. That's just not a good deal. And speaking of the electricity, Pacific Power residential rates are about to climb almost 10% next year, starting January 1, 9.8%. So Pacific Power residential customers across Oregon are going to see that rate increase. We've had several rate increases in the last couple of years, several. And in fact, including the increase approved yesterday, Pacific Corp's residential rates have climbed nearly 50% since 2021. And some will go, oh, well, gee whiz, they asked for a 17.9%. They requested that much, almost 18% earlier in the year. They're only going to get 10%. 50% increase since 2021. That's a damn crime. That's a damn crime. It truly is. And also, the federal government is suing Pacific Core, which is a parent company of Pacific Core, is the parent company of Pacific Power. And so here you have the federal government is suing Pacific Core over the 2020 Oregon wildfire as the costs of the fires to the company climb. And so the Archie Creek fire burned across more than 131,000 acres, about half of that federal land. And that truly is. And so the lawsuit is stating that the company did not maintain their equipment or the vegetation around it, which sparked a fire that would destroy about 170 homes and 131,000, more than 131,000 acres. And so let's see. The feds are suing. Bam, we need more money. And it is the responsibility of the utility to maintain their easements, maintain their equipment, that things don't happen. And it didn't. So the federal lawsuit claims Pacific Core has a history of failing to satisfy basic safety standards and doing little to fix safety issues. This is an OPB article that I am referring to that came out yesterday that I got off of Oregon Watchdog. And so if partly it's the fire, partly it's the lawsuit. Pacific Power needs more money, and we are taking it in the shorts. And yet there are people that will say, oh, but the green energy is so inexpensive. Well, the hell it is. It's a farce. It is not. It's the most expensive power out there, solar and wind. And they're not farms. Farms produce stuff you eat. These are industrial energy production sites that are quite toxic when they burn. You can't recycle. Solar panel, you can recycle 10%. 10%. Wind turbines, probably about that much too. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about that type of thing that's going on. ODOT has now said they won't plow snow on time unless they get a 35% gas tax. A new 35% gas tax. And this is an article in Oregon Catalyst that came out of K2. And the Taxpayer Association of Oregon warned you about that 35-cent gas tax. It's not going away. And ODOT wants to, say, we want ours. So let's see. Budget woes? I don't think so. Oregon has an excess of money. An excess of money. That's not what it is. The Oregon gas tax went up 5% this year. Oregon DM fees went up 7 to 100% this year. And ODOT cut 25 maintenance positions at a time when we gave them more tax money from these huge tax and fee increases. Where'd the money go? Now ODOT is floating a 35-cent gas tax increase to fill their budget. And so they're going, sorry, you know what? We're going to have less snow plowing and less emergency storm preparedness. This is no different than the teachers going on strike, right before school starts. This is no different than the airlines going on strike right before Christmas, or Amazon for that matter. And I'll tell you, it's crap is what it is. Sorry. It's what it is. So I just have to tell you about that. There's going to be some Oregon laws coming into effect on January 1st. There's going to be penalties for drug use on public transit. There might be penalties. I want to see what the real action happens to be, though, because it's too bad they just didn't go back to the way it was. There will be the right to repair electronic devices and laws meant to make prescription drugs cheaper. But there is also the divesting from coal. The Oregon Investment Council and the state treasurer are directed, because of House Bill 4083, to work toward eliminating state investment in coal companies and funds that contain coal companies. So, it's going to be against the law for warehouse productivity quotas. So if you have to meet, the business wants you to produce X amount of product a day, you can't do that anymore, because productivity quotas can drive up injury rates among warehouse workers. So you can sit on your ass, I guess. I don't know. And this bill, House Bill 4127, goes on so much that it requires that companies be transparent about their quotas and the consequences of failing to meet them. And if an employer fails to comply with the new requirement, an employee has grounds for a complaint to BOLI, Bureau of Labor and Industries. So no farmer, I mean, here you're talking about a warehouse. They're talking about that, but it's companies. Let's see, we need to get all the corn out of the field. We've got to go get the lettuce out of the field. It's time to harvest the wheat. Is that productivity quotas? I don't know. You tell me. School buses have safety cameras when they're all stopped. School board transparencies, all school boards, unless you have fewer than 50 students, and districts with spotty internet. Many are going to go, sorry, we have spotty internet. They must have a video feed for transparency to the public. Interesting. Also, Senate Bill 1532 and Senate Bill 1533 directs Oregon Department of Education to develop a statewide education plan for asylum seekers, refugees, and any other immigrant, regardless of status. I want the illegals gone. Not the ones that come here on visas, and agriculture visas and things like that. No, I want the illegals gone, that we don't know who the hell they are. We don't even know if that's their lawful name. No. And let's see. One of the biggest law that was passed a few years ago, but is now going to go into effect, agricultural workers will be eligible for overtime after 48 hours in the new year. Previously, the overtime threshold was 55 hours, and even that proved controversial. So I just mentioned agriculture earlier. And the Oregon farmers says they can't afford to pay the workers overtime. This year, wheat producers, and we produce a lot of wheat. Wheat producers sold their harvest for less than it cost them to make it. That was without paying overtime, I'm sure. I don't know. So if you worked 55 hours, then you got overtime. And so I know, because I know some wheat producers. So let's see. That's about it that I'm seeing in that article. And I must be having issues. Sorry about that, guys. Well, the big news today is, of course, as I started off earlier, the House passed the funding, and I think that's a really good thing. You know what is amazing to me? Biden is news. The Sorry about this, guys. I don't know. I'm having a connection issue tonight, and so the Georgia Appeals Court has disqualified Fannie Willis from Trump's election case. I'm back. I'm back. Marjorie, now you can see me. Yeah, you lost me for a little while. And um, so this is fabulous, fabulous news that the and this Georgia appeals court disqualifies Fannie Willis from the Trump election, saying, there was definitely a look of impropriety. And so, no, you can't just let her boyfriend go. You've got to let her go too. And it's totally out of that county, her county. So it's fabulous. They've got to go to another county, try to get another different district attorney, and somewhere else. So I pray that this case is going away now. I really, really, really do. I just think it's justice for Fannie Willis, for sure. Justice for Fannie Willis. Yes, I'm back. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. I'm having some connection issues. Sorry, guys. Um, Sorry about that. Stuff happens. Sometimes stuff happens. Hey, so that's good. news. My gosh, it looks like I'm going away again. I have to do something to my computer, clearly. I know I'm all updated, but I've got to clear some things out. So one more piece of very good, well, no, this is educational news. The FDA has updates a recall on blood pressure medication. So if you take nebivolol tablets, they're under a recall because of some drug substance related impurity. And there's been 3 different blood pressure medications recalled in the past several weeks. I had no idea till I saw this story tonight. And so they have nebivolol tablets. It's 2.5 milligram dose in 30 count bottles. This is a beta blocker that is used to treat high blood pressure. And another recall, the first was initiated by Aurobindo earlier this month, and they recalled as a class 2, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. So this Nivabidil, when I see the name, nebivolol. Then another one, there was another drug here. Other ones in the past couple of months was lisinopril 10 milligram doses. And that was quite a large recall, that there was apparently, pharmacists discovered a metal fragment embedded in a lisinopril 10 milligram tablet. And, your pharmacist is supposed to catch this stuff, but just in case, you know, if the pharmacist, oh my God, I'm back. Okay, look, I'm back to say goodnight because I'm clearly having a problem. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a very Merry Christmas. And Dawn and I will be back on New Year's Day. Okay, so January 1st, Dawn and I will be on. We discussed it after last Wednesday, saying, okay, we're not going to be here on Christmas. And I will be here on Friday, the 27th. But Dawn and I will be back on Wednesday, January 1st. So, hey, everybody, have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your time with family. Hug them all. Enjoy the time while we're, with your loved ones, your friends, family. And it's special. Hug them tight because life is short. We don't ever know, we just don't know when our time is up. And so life is precious. We have a lot to be thankful for. We live in the best country in the world. We just won a fabulous election. And we're going to make America great again. And we're going to make America healthy again. It might be a little painful getting there. It's going to be some bumps in the roads for sure, as was just seen with this continuing resolution. But, third time was the charm. They got it passed. And everything's good. So have a blessed weekend. Good night, everybody.